The 1970s were a golden era for country music, but not every classic came out swinging. Some tunes were dismissed, delayed, or downright ignored when they first hit the scene. Take Tulsa Time, for example. It quietly rolled in without much fanfare, but before long, it had fans two-stepping coast to coast. And then there's Blue Eyes, Crying in the Rain, a gentle ballad that defied every radio rule and became a legend. These are the 10 country songs from the 70s that started out as flops but ended up smash hits. Number 10, Tulsa Time by Don Williams.
I've been through it, living on Tulsa time.
It's hard to believe this easygoing groove was nearly shell. Released in 1978 on the album Expressions, Tulsa Time didn't roar onto the charts. It tiptoed in. Penned by Danny Flowers and recorded in a Nashville hotel room, the song wasn't seen as a standout. That is, until Don Williams with his calm, velvet drawl made it shine.
I left Oklahoma, driving in a Pontiac.
The real twist, Eric Clapton heard it, covered it live, and made it rock. That unexpected crossover gave the original track new legs. Picture it. A dusty jukebox humming in a sleepy bar, the smell of old leather and beer in the air, and Don's voice floating over the clink of glasses. The song climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country chart and won ACM's Single of the Year in 1979.
Well, there I was in Hollywood, wishing I was doing good.
A laid-back outlaw anthem that proves sometimes slow and steady really does win the race. From a quiet triumph to a song that rattled the rafters, let's head to a tune that even the artist's label didn't believe in. Number 9, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue by Crystal Gayle.
I've been so blue.
Yes, this now iconic hit was almost left off the album. Released in 1977, Crystal Gayle's smooth jazz country blend confused her label United Artists. They didn't hear a hit, but radio DJs did. Once they spun it, the public fell hard.
Give me no reasons, give me alibi.
Written by Richard Lee, the song was a departure from the twangy norm. That sultry piano line came from jazz pianist Hargus "Pig" Robbins. That silky delivery was Gayle at her most tender. Imagine hearing it for the first time on a car radio during a lonely drive home. The kind of song that makes the world pause. Brown Eyes hit number 1 on the country chart and crossed over to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It even snagged a Grammy for Best Female Country Vocal. All that from a song they thought wouldn't work. From elegance to grit, get ready for a song that almost got lost in the outlaw shuffle. Number 8, Luckenbach, Texas, Back to the Basics of Love by Waylon Jennings.
Between Hank Williams.
This one almost didn't make it out of the gate. In 1977, Waylon Jennings was already deep into the outlaw movement. But Luckenbach, Texas was so laid back, even Waylon reportedly didn't like it. A song about ditching material things and finding peace, it seemed too soft for his image.
I don't need my name in the marquee lights.
Written by Bobby Emmons and Chips Moman, it was subtle and poetic. Maybe too subtle for Waylon's roughneck edge. But when it hit radio, fans heard something deeper. A call to slow down and simplify. Picture it crackling through an AM radio, the sun dipping low on a Texas horizon, and you realize this is a country prayer.
In your high society, you cry all day.
The song soared to number 1 on the country chart and became one of Waylon's signature hits. Not bad for a tune he didn't want to sing. And speaking of songs artists doubted, the next one was recorded just to fill space. Number 7, Behind Closed Doors by Charlie Rich. When Epic Records released Behind Closed Doors in 1973, the title track raised eyebrows. Charlie Rich, known for his blend of country, jazz, and blues, recorded this tune with hesitation.
And she lets her hair hang down.
It was meant to be filler, but the sultry wink-wink lyrics and Rich's smooth vocals struck a chord. At first, some radio stations hesitated. Was it too suggestive? Too intimate? But couples across the country saw themselves in it. It felt real, human, passionate. Imagine it playing on a kitchen radio while dinner simmers and the kids are at grandma's. That kind of intimacy.
She's always a lady, just like a lady.
It became Rich's first #1 country single and won him CMA Song of the Year and a Grammy. Suddenly, the Silver Fox was a household name. Let's keep the flame burning with a song recorded in one single take. Number 6, Amanda by Don Williams, later Waylon Jennings. Here's a twist. Amanda first showed up in 1973 on Don Williams' Volume 1, but it barely made a dent. Written by Bob McDill, it was tender and understated. Largely overlooked until Waylon Jennings gave it a second life in 1979.
I've held it all inward, Lord.
Waylon recorded his version in one take and released it on Greatest Hits. No one expected a compilation album track to hit the top, but fans fell in love with its honesty. You could almost feel the breeze through a cracked truck window, Waylon's voice echoing off the hills, singing to the woman who made life worth living. It hit #1 on the Billboard Country chart and became one of his most beloved ballads. And speaking of things that hit late, if these tunes are bringing back memories,
Fate should have made you a gentle.
if these underdog anthems are bringing back memories, hit that like button and subscribe. We post new vintage country countdowns every week, keeping the golden years of music alive for fans like you. Now, from a song that was passed over to one almost buried in grief. Number 5, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain by Willie Nelson.
Blue eyes crying in the rain.
Columbia Records had doubts. Willie Nelson was seen as a songwriter, not a singer. But in 1975, Nelson convinced them to let him record Red-Headed Stranger, a sparse concept album with Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain at its core.
While I blow, I see.
The label thought it was too bare and too weird, but the people heard pain, love, and truth, pure and unfiltered. The song, originally written by Fred Rose and recorded by others before, had never sounded like this. It was the sound of silence between heartbreaks. You could almost see a lone cowboy watching rain fall on an empty road and feeling everything at once.
Someday when we meet up yonder.
It reached #1 on the country chart, earned Nelson his first Grammy, and redefined outlaw country. Let's ride this mood into another slow burn that quietly conquered. Number 4, If I Needed You by Townes Van Zandt.
Well, if I needed you, would you?
This song barely charted, but its legacy grew roots deeper than most hits. Released in 1972 by folk country poet Townes Van Zandt, If I Needed You was too soft for mainstream country radio, too poetic, too sad.
Would you come to me indeed?
So it sat quietly admired by songwriters. Then Emmylou Harris and Don Williams covered it in 1981, and suddenly it hit the charts. Still, it was Van Zant's original that became the heart of the Americana revival. His version felt like a whisper in the dark, intimate and trembling. You'd hear it on a rainy Sunday, playing from a dusty record player while you watched old photos fade in your hands. Today, it's considered one of the most beautiful country love songs of all time, and Townes, the poet who never chased fame, got the last word, from hushed love to a jukebox sleeper hit. Number 3, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. This one almost didn't happen. Written by Don Schlitz, The Gambler was passed over by several artists, including Johnny Cash. When Kenny Rogers picked it up in 1978, it was his last chance to prove he could still top the charts. Even his label was unsure. A story song? About a gambler? Then came that opening line, on a warm summer's evening. And suddenly everyone was all in. You could picture it playing in a roadside bar, the old man in the corner suddenly making sense. It became Rogers' signature hit, won a Grammy, and inspired a string of TV movies. One song created a whole universe. Next is a song that found its second wind in the movies. Number 2, Stand By Your Man by Tammy Wynette.
Sometimes it's hard to be.
Believe it or not, this 1968 classic didn't catch fire until the 70s. When it was first released, it sparked controversy. Some critics and feminists called it outdated or submissive. Radio stations hesitated. Tammy even worried it might flop.
Even though he's hard to understand.
But over time, and especially through the 1970s, audiences embraced it as a powerful, complex ballad about love, loyalty, and womanhood. When it landed in the 1979 film 5 Easy Pieces, its haunting echo reached a new generation. You could hear it playing in empty diners, women singing softly along. Not out of weakness, but from strength. It topped the charts, became Tammy's anthem, and was later ranked one of the greatest country songs of all time. Now, for our final surprise, a song that was literally rescued from the vault. Number 1, He'll Have to Go by Jim Reeves.
I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox.
This one came out in 1959, but its true chart-busting legacy bloomed in the early 70s. Originally shelved and overlooked, He'll Have to Go didn't gain traction until radio DJs started spinning it months later.
A little closer to the phone.
Then, it exploded. The song's whispering intimacy, recorded with a low mic technique, felt like Jim Reeves was in your living room, just for you. By the early 70s, it had been reissued, covered, and revered. And it inspired a wave of smooth-voiced crooners who followed in Reeves' footsteps.
Though love is blind, make up your mind.
Imagine sitting in a dark room alone and feeling that voice wash over you like a late-night phone call you didn't want to end. From flop to foundation, this song changed country music forever. If you've enjoyed this trip back in time, don't forget to like and subscribe for more country classics every single week, and there you have it. 10 country songs from the 1970s that almost faded into the shadows but rose to the top with heart, grit, and a little luck. These stories remind us that timing isn't everything. Truth is. Next week, join us for 10 flop country songs from the 60s that unexpectedly turned into smash hits, where we'll explore the dawn of a changing sound. Until then, may the songs that nearly slipped away always find their way back to you.